Welcome back for a new best to worst ranking list. Last time we did the Nintendo Wii. This time we are doing the Wii U. Now I'm ranking, for me personally, best to worst Wii U games, just my own personal preference. So with that said, try to keep this a little bit faster. Hopefully you enjoyed the retro wave music in the background. First up, pretty much all the same because they're basically worthless without, unfortunately, figures. And the first of which is a little something called Disney Infinity. And as you know, it is, like I said, like any Toys to Life thing, basically worthless without. And figures, you have 2.0, 3.0, though I like just barely a bit more Imaginators, at least with Skylanders, and the fact you could also customize, create your own character, as long as you have one of those crystals. But still, nevertheless, yeah, I did enjoy it a little bit more, but still at the bottom because of relying on other elements. Next up, I'm sure some people definitely disagree with me, and that's fine. But for me, lowest of regular games is Splatoon. Why? Because it's predominantly really like a multiplayer game, whether it be online or local couch co-op. But nevertheless, it's just not my cup of tea, and I could see how a lot of people enjoy, honestly, Splatoon, but to each their own, as the saying goes. But with that said, next up is another game that gets definitely a lot of hate, and I get where the hate comes from. Personally, I don't think it's as bad as other people do, but still, keep in mind this has come from somebody who's very biased and who absolutely loves Star Fox 64. So yeah, Star Fox Zero still pretty much basically very low on the tier, just above a few other games, but still, yeah, for a Star Fox game it's not great, but I don't think it deserves as much hate as it does get, unfortunately. Next up, I'm sure some people disagree it's not higher, but as a game, yes, I love Injustice Gods Among Us, don't get me wrong. But with that said, this is because this is the only version, it's the base vanilla version of the game. They never released like the ultimate DLC, like package collection, like they would on all other platforms, even 360 and PS3. Even the Vita got the ultimate version, but the Wii U unfortunately did not, which is why it only gets up to here for me personally, just because it's vanilla. And it doesn't really, sadly, implement or use really any of the features that you could use in the Wii U, unfortunately. Next up, a game that does get a lot of praise, quite a bit. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but let's be honest. The game is basically just a copy off of, well, Tekken Tag Tournament. That's what it is. But then again, people from, rather, Namco Bandai were involved in the making of this game of Pokken Tournament, so I'm not surprised. I'm just used to more traditional Pokemon games, you know, the more traditional, like, RPG style gameplay of, like, Stadium or Coliseum, stuff like that. Is what I'm personally more used to. So, it is unique and stuff to many other Pokemon games out there, but it just doesn't speak to me as hard as I think other people. Next is a game that I think I can honestly say I like more than quite a few people. But then again, I say the same thing for the original Epic Mickey game as well. As I liked it, it was arguably by far one of my top favorites. Unfortunately, this game isn't nearly as high because I do think it has a lot more issues and problems with the game than the first one did. But I still enjoy it for what it is. I still think it's a fun 3D platformer that's quite enjoyable. It's just weaker compared to the first game. But still, I actually think it's quite fun, and overall, I still say and recommend picking the game up as you can get it very affordable. Next is a game I'm surprised more people don't talk about. I think it's actually a hidden gem. Star Fox Guard. I heavily far preferred this game over Star Fox Zero. That may not be saying much to a lot of people, but personally, I still really enjoyed this game for what it was and its uniqueness. Basically, just the fact you're just guarding a small base from intruders and stuff, and I just found the gameplay surprisingly fun. It's kind of weird, especially for a Star Fox game. It's bizarre, but personally, I found it just a very interesting niche game for me. That I'd say this is going to be one of those very, um, pretty much cult following type of games. I can really see this becoming a cult classic as time progresses. Next of other games, yeah, it doesn't get high just because I haven't played a lot of it yet, but we're approaching towards getting closer towards the middle for what it is. Bayonetta is not bad at all. I mean, keep in mind I haven't actually really played Bayonetta 2 yet, just Bayonetta 1, but from what I played so far, it gets to about here. To me, yeah, it does feel and play a lot like other games, such as obviously Devil May Cry being the biggest influence, being the big, but not really surprised. Next up on a game, I know most people practically worship this game. For me, eh. Mario Kart 8. It's a fun game. It's a good Mario Kart, don't get me wrong. I still think, though, I kind of a little more fond of like the earlier area, like Super Mario Kart and stuff like that. I actually much prefer compared to more of the current day stuff, but Mario Kart 8 is still a lot of fun, don't get me wrong. I do find insane how successful this game is, but I can see why it appeals to a lot of people. For me, though, it's more towards just the middle. But keep in mind that's because I'm more of a platformer person and stuff, besides flying games. Next up, making just a little higher, ZombiU. Why does this game make it this much higher and right in the middle of the list? Because the gameplay. And the fact that it actually utilizes the mechanics and touchscreen of the actual gamepad, which I actually appreciate. And that's why this is a highly recommended game, especially for the price it's going for. I do recommend getting ZombiU if you get a chance. Try it out if you like zombie games. It's actually quite fun. Next up is a game I only recently got a hold of. I haven't played too much yet, but for what I've played so far, I've actually liked it. And definitely I like the whole aesthetic and look of the fact the whole world feels like it's made from yarn. And I think that's really cool. For me, Yoshi's Woolly World is actually really nice, and I like the whole look and aesthetic and just design of the game. It definitely harkens back to very much a classic, definitely old school mentality and gameplay of earlier Nintendo games, and I actually appreciate that quite a bit. And it gives it a very unique standout compared to many other side-scrolling games, in my opinion. I wish more games would try experimenting art styles like that. Another one, in my opinion, great for me, possibly. This is probably my second favorite Donkey Kong game, personally. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is actually a really fun game. Can be quite challenging, as like many Donkey Kong games, but it's the first time in quite a long time since really Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo that I found myself really getting into the gameplay and things. And honestly, I consider this a must-play for any platformer or Nintendo fan alike. This is definitely a great game that needs more love. Speaking of other great games, If you like Monster Hunter games and stuff like that, this is a must play and must own. Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate is just that good. Has definitely a pretty decent difficulty curve, just be aware of it. But given what this game goes for on average price-wise, I consider it a must pick up while the price is reasonable before the marketplace eShop goes down next month. So yeah, get this game while you can. If you like a good challenge and you like games like Monster Hunter, this is a must play. Now getting up into the top like 10 favorites. In my opinion, though, for me, though, at like 13th place is the NES Remix, which is one of the must-play, must-have games, in my opinion, for the Wii U, as I like how it implements and gives an interesting new take on classic games, and more people need to give this game honestly a shot, in my personal opinion. Next up, Pikmin 3, which is a very unique game, I will say, and in my opinion, more people need to play Pikmin 3 because it is a very unique Nintendo game to say the least, personally though. But if you get a chance, play this game. It's arguably my personal favorite of the Pikmin series, which is why it comes in at number 12 of my favorite Wii U games of all time. And it's just very addictive, fun gameplay, and has a lot of replayability, which I always appreciate in games. At 11, no surprise, as this has come from a longtime fan of the Warriors series, whether it be Samurai Warriors or Dynasty Warriors, going all the way back to like the 6th generation of consoles, or heck, going all the way back to the 5th, where the actual origins come from. But I like it. Honestly, the gameplay is a lot of fun. Hyrule Warriors, if you're going to play this game, I definitely don't recommend playing it on the 3DS. Play it on the Wii U. It is definitely the better way to play this if you're not going to get the definitive version, though I think this is better as you can get far cheaper and easier over the Switch version, which you're going to be paying like $60. Pick this up for like $15 or so, so yeah, I recommend getting this version. Coming in at number 10 is new Super Mario Bros. U. Though I personally prefer the other thing that's included with this, and that is the new Luigi, or new Super Luigi Bros. U, which is great, and if you get a chance, get this, especially this version that includes both Luigi and Mario. It's a fun game, like I said before. I really like the Wii game, but I think this actually adds upon the Wii game a little bit, and I always appreciate seeing Luigi get a little bit more passion and a little more love, because Luigi is sadly always overlooked over his brother Mario. At number 9 is one of the coolest, I think, games, arguably bar none, on the Wii U, and uses the gamepad very well compared to many other games on the Wii U, and that is Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. You can get this game very affordable like many other Wii U games, and it just has a real charm to the gameplay, the level design. I just like how it implements the whole features and everything, the Wii U, and I just love the art style and the simplicity to certain elements, but also it just has its own unique flair for many other traditional Nintendo platformers, so that's always appreciated. Arguably, in my opinion, the best fighting game on the Wii U, well, traditional fighting games, I should say, and that is my personal favorite version of Tekken Tag Tournament 2, the Wii U edition with the special costumes you can unlock where you can actually put it on like Link clothes onto Kazuya, which is hilarious in my opinion. Also, the fact you have a weird Wii U like gameplay mode and stuff where you can end up getting mushrooms and stuff that will make you grow giant on the stage and stuff. It's honestly a lot of fun and it's just a blast. And I just love the weird things that they decide to do in the Nintendo Wii U version of the game, making this, in my opinion, the definitive version of Tekken Tag 2. Coming in next at number 7 is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Like I said before, I like this game, don't get me wrong, but for me, Breath of the Wild it's not as good as I think some people treat it to be. Yeah, of a open world, and in fact, a lot of current day open world stuff has taken a lot of inspiration from the game, mainly games like Genshin Impact. Though actually Genshin Impact I enjoyed a little bit more in the combat system and the magic abilities and stuff, just personally more. Um, Not a bad Zelda game by any means, but it's just not my personal. I wouldn't even put it in my top 5 favorite Zelda games. Top 10, yes. Top 5, no. There are multiple other games I would rather play Link in. But still, it's great for what it is, and it surprisingly plays very well as this was the last official release title for the Wii U from Nintendo. Number 5. Number 6. Super Mario 3D World. As a great Mario game that I think more people need to give this game a shot. Yeah, you can get like the ultimate version with the extra new content, but you'll be paying like $60 for the Switch game. Or do what I did, which is I paid like $10 for Super Mario 3D World, which is more than worth that price, in my opinion. Eventually I may get the other sometime, but when I can play it on the Wii U, I'll stick with the Wii U version. It's a lot of fun, and I like it uses a lot of elements and things from many other games of the past, and I appreciate that, and I wish there was a future Mario game, another game that plays in similar to Super Mario 3D World. Hopefully someday we do get like maybe a sequel to this game as it deserves it. Number 5. A definite reason to have a Wii U in the first place. Xenoblade Chronicles X. Arguably, you like mechs, you like RPGs, open world style games. It's got you covered in all those fronts. And this game surprisingly looks really good, and the gameplay is great. Yeah, there are a few frame rate issues here and there, though you can do updates and stuff, patches and things like that. But with that said, I do recommend. Personally, I haven't played much of the other Xenoblade games, but I can say I do highly recommend this, and this was a smart decision on my part when I picked this game up a few years ago for like $8. More than worth that. But if you get a chance, you can find for a reasonable price, pick it up. It's definitely worth a shot, especially if you want a good RPG with a fun world and something that you can spend a lot of time in. This is definitely a game that has you in all those areas. Number 4. A game that implements and uses the control pad very well. Compared to many other games, only a select few like Zombie U and this Super Mario Maker comes in for because of just how fun it is to create levels and things like that with the gamepad, and the way it implements everything is perfect. I mean, literally, I feel like this was a game designed strictly for the gamepad in mind. I recommend getting this, not the 3DS, but if you want the 3DS, go right ahead. but it's just way more fun to build stuff, and that's one of the things I like. I like games that allows you to use your imagination and make things. That's why I highly recommend this game to anyone. Sadly, the Switch, from what I understand, does not implement the second game as well. So, if you get a chance to try this on the Wii U, you might be surprised at actually how fun and how much time you might end up spending on the game. Number 3. Arguably, by far, my second favorite Zelda game of all time, or rather, but that is because of definitely a fondness for the GameCube is why. Specifically this, though I also hold up pretty high right behind probably Link to the Past. But with that said, the HD version of, and I prefer the gameplay that this plays more like the GameCube version, thank goodness not that Wii version, which is the inferior way to play this game. But definitely, if you get a chance and you can find this for a reasonable price, pick it up. As this is great, and the fact right now this is still the only way to play Twilight Princess in HD. Which is why you should definitely get if you can get for a good price. Also coming in at number 2, Super Smash Bros. Wii U Edition, or rather Smash 4. As I've said before, it is pretty much my second favorite Smash game, right behind Brawl. For me, this or the 3DS, both are great games. Yeah, there's a lot more to this as it is the normal console game versus the handheld, which had to cut out a lot of content in order for it to actually perform very well. So, if you get a chance to pick this up on the Wii U, it's a lot of fun, and it is unfortunate though it doesn't have a normal traditional single player story and stuff, which kind of sucks. But still, the game is a lot of fun, and it's fun playing it on the gamepad. Honestly, it's a blast. And that's a great way to play this game, couch co-op and stuff with that. Plus the fact also the Wii U Pro controller is one of the best controllers of all time in my opinion. Coming at number 1 should be no surprise as it's my favorite Zelda game of all time. Number 1 favorite is Wind Waker HD, which is still the only way to play this, just like Twilight Princess. This is the only way to play either game in an HD quality, and plus they even added a few additions to the Wii U version of actually Wind Waker, which I appreciate when you add extra little features, like for instance, it improved, upscaled the graphics obviously besides being able to play in HD, and also it gave you certain additional content and stuff added to help improve the game in my opinion. Definitely this is the definitive way to play Wind Waker, as well as the definitive way to play Twilight Princess. But if you get a chance, pick this or the other up. Just get a Wii U while you can for a reasonable price, because there's a great library of great RPGs, action adventure games, and platformers on this console. But with that said, that is it for a new best to worst ranking my Wii U collection, as this is strictly ranking the physical stuff, not digital, so Devil's Third not included. But with that said, I'll see y'all next time. Same YouTube time, same YouTube channel, stay safe out there.